The continued adventures of an MMO veteran playing Warframe for the first time. I pick up the heat sword and Valkyr component I had cooked at the foundry. I'm now halfway to making Valkyr with 2 out of 4 components acquired. I use the arsenal to remind myself where to get the remaining blueprints I need, that drop from the boss with the robo-dog that we beat previously. I equip the heat sword and throw some mods on it to try it out. I'm looking at the stats. There is some brief confusion on where is the heat damage. Apparently, it only adds it to slam and ground attacks, but not normal swings. I proceed to run the mission for Valkyr parts 2 times and get the exact 2 blueprints that I need. I'm not sure if it will always give you blueprints that you are missing or if I just got lucky, but it is done. I head to the foundry and start crafting the Valkyr chassis, but I am missing a control module and plastids to make the Valkyr systems the final component. I head to Saturn and begin doing missions in order to expand my map. While doing this, I comment on the sword attack patterns.
Because the sword mostly does like an up-down slice, it actually feels easier to hit flyers with melee with the sword than it does with the staff.
While selecting Telesto, I am briefly puzzled as it does something new. I pick from multiple mission types on a drop-down menu when selecting it on the navigation map. I choose the Meso version and I'm able to open one of my relics while doing it. Partway through the mission, I got the notification that the relic had opened and it prompted a question.
Okay, so she said your relic has opened. Hypothetically, if I were to die and fail the mission now, do I still get the loot from the box? No, you don't, okay.
After finishing the Meso mission, I head to Tethys, nearly to the next junction. I'm supposed to take down a named target named General Sargus Ruck. Starting the mission, I run past or one-shot all the mobs, sprinting to the target until we lay eyes on him.
General Sargus Ruck. Ruck vs. Muck. Dude, his left shoulder pad is like the World of Warcraft movie.
So we're fighting him in a room with a constant stream of weaker enemies pouring in. I try hitting him and occasionally AoE to take down the small fry building up in the room.
Something I'm noticing is I can run full speed while meleeing with this thing. I could not do that with my previous weapon.
It quickly becomes obvious that he is immune to basic damage. Melee doesn't work, my dog doesn't hurt him either. Okay, let's try the glowy bits. I start shooting him in the blue vent on his shoulder and it does in fact do damage. A very, very small amount of damage. I try putting the magnet bubble on him that pulls in bullets, but it has no effect. I try some other abilities, but in cycling through every skill and weapon I have, the only thing that worked was shooting that shoulder vent.
God, I hope it breaks eventually and it's not just this for his whole health bar, because I don't have enough ammo to do this for his whole health bar.
A viewer comments that maybe I should have run this with other people in a group, and yeah, fair, but I was one-shotting everything up until this point. I didn't expect to slam into this. Like, going from one-shotting things to a boss that is immune to most of your attacks is not a difficulty slope, that's just a wall. I don't want to give up and restart though, so I press ahead, dumping all the ammo I pick up into his weak spot and occasionally clearing the room of weaker enemies to acquire more ammunition and healing items. This is taking so long that I'm getting a lot of level ups for my weapons, and hoping that they are getting a bit of power increase, so maybe it'll speed this along. Finally, after 13 minutes, the shoulder explodes.
Oh, thank God. Wait, no.
So I was hoping that after breaking the weak point on his shoulder, it would be like that other boss with the hoses on his back and that he would be vulnerable the remainder of the fight. Alas, this does not happen and he instead gets a new weak point on his chest. 17 minutes after the fight begins.
Aim, bro? I'm hitting the only spot that takes damage. What do you mean aim? Look, his leg's immune. His head's immune. His arm's immune. You have to just hit the blue spot. That's the only part that takes damage. This is just stupid. Are your mods upgraded? Some of them are, until I ran out of endo.
23 minutes after the fight begins, his chest weak point explodes.
Okay, something just happened.
He gets a new weak point, but this time on his back, which since he is constantly trying to face me, I don't get a lot of time to hit. I test once again to see if other attacks, weapons, or abilities will work now, but no. It appears to open when he uses a new large area flame attack, so I have to stare directly into the flames to try to hit this spot. During this fight, we had a lot of Warframe veterans who were popping into chat backseating and saying, you should do this or that, or go here to get this weapon, or install this mod, or invite me, I'll kill him for you, etc, etc. To which I would consistently decline or say please don't spoiler back seat, which combined with this boss led to a lot of frustration. Finally, after nearly 40 minutes, he dies and I get the quest credit. If any devs of Warframe ever see this video looking for feedback, I want to stress to you that I am really enjoying your game, but this boss is absolutely, positively the most frustrating thing I have hit in my time so far. For the sake of future new players, I would encourage you to change this fight. Having him be immune to melee, immune to companion damage, immune to spells, and heavily resistant to gun is a bit much after one-shotting everything on the way here. After getting back to my ship, I take what lessons I can learn from this fight to heart and put what remains of my small Indo stockpile into more mods. Afterwards, I pick up Chroma Neuroptics from the Junction quest as a reward for taking the boss down. Next, I need to complete a 20-minute survival in one mission run of Titan, so the next step is opening the route to Titan. My time with the Fire Sword prompts a question.
I got a question for you guys that I think would require... If you're a Guild Wars 2 player and a Warframe player, you'll understand this. If I hit someone with my sword and it procs burning, and then I hit them with the sword again and it procs burning again, does it stack, is question one. And question two is it stacking in intensity or in duration?
Okay, cool. I appreciate when games have a stacking system for debuffs. After tearing through a few easy missions, we unlock Titan, and it is one of those life support mechanics missions. My goal is to stay for 20 minutes, far longer than what is required, but you can stay seemingly as long as you wish to. So I spend 20 minutes julienning enemies with my heat sword, chatting with the viewers and bouncing random questions off of them, like, does the burn from a heavy attack do more damage than the burn from a light attack? And why do I occasionally see a plus 15 above my dog's head? Little questions that they were able to knock out for me. Eventually, our 20 minutes are up and we head to the exit and hope we get credit for our task. One of our rewards for that mission was a Gorgon blueprint, some kind of weapon. I check it out in the foundry, but I don't have the materials for it, so I go back to focusing on Valkyr, which I need a control module for. The tooltip says control modules come from Europa, Neptune, and the Void, and the one that is closest to anything I've opened up appears to be Europa. I collect my reward from the 20-minute thing. I next need to transmute a mod. I head to the mod station and find some duplicates I don't need and try the transmute feature, which appears to get rid of 4 mods to make a new one. I'm now able to do Uranus Junction, which is defended by Equinox Spectre, who looks like they stole their outfit from Ursula in The Little Mermaid. I run in, and for the first time I don't win by just holding down the melee key. My dog drops in a second, and I shortly after. The boss appears to put bleeds on me when it lands hits, and he quickly develops a near immunity to my spells. I have to hit and run behind a pillar repeatedly, recovering shields and health and chipping him down. Luckily, the Spectre is kind of dumb, and it lets me back off and recover as much as I want to. Eventually, I chip him down and get recipes for Lecta and Sun and Moon, 2 new melee weapons. I get an email from a Grenier bragging about how awesome he is.
Working hard, are we? Trying to stop progress? Grenier progress? That's my progress. Might work with Vayhek. Vayhek might roll over, but not Till. Not me. Not my tube men. We can't have that. No, won't have that. Kill my tube men, I make more. And more. And more. How many of you to kill, hmm? I count 1.
Ortis, flag any future emails from this guy as high importance. They amuse me. I head to Thebe next to work toward the next junction. This mission is a new type for me. I have to sabotage a large engine-like device. However, after you begin the sabotage, you are on a timer to complete it. If you fail the timer, you cannot simply begin sabotaging again. You are ejected from the mission and you have to start it over from the beginning. This seemed odd, and on top of it, it didn't have the restart button on the end screen, which many missions do. This is of course a super minor thing, I just didn't notice before now that some missions you can click restart and others you can't, and have to go back to the nav console. So I tried again, and I try to do better. The reason I lost was some of the enemies that try to stop me can repair the sabotage. Once I recognize this, I make killing those my top priority, and I'm able to get past the part I failed the first time.
Success! Core melt initiated. In a few brief moments, this facility will cease to exist. May orders suggest running for your life?
The next mission is a simple exterminate X number of enemies. We get through this without issue. After finishing it, I notice I can begin the next mastery rank up. This one is simply Objective Survive, and I have to last the duration of a timer while waves of enemies come at me. I basically just hold down the melee button for a full minute, not too bad at all, and I get my rank up. Afterwards, I adjust my graphic settings, tweaking a few things that chat recommends. Afterwards, I inspect the Europa Junction I now have access to. One of my new goals is to visit a dojo. In poking around, I learned that this is kind of like a guild hall from past games I've played. It seems to offer perks of some kind if you join one. For now, I now know how to find this and have completed my current objective. I head back to the nav console, and my new goal is to start building a Forma in the Foundry, which I am one neural sensor short for. Looks like these are from Jupiter, so I go to Jupiter and I pick a random mission I've never done to check it off and try to get the item I need, hoping to knock out 2 goals at once. I complete the mission but don't get what I need, so then I do another one in the Archwing that is pretty sweet that involves tearing my way through an enemy vessel and disabling it as I go. Alas, I, again, do not get what I need. Someone in chat points out that I had some neural sensors, but I used them crafting Lecta. So I go back to the Foundry, I cancel Lecta, and I begin crafting Forma for the quest. I then cancel the Forma and restart the Lecta again.
It worked.
Next, I need to learn how to perform synthesis from Cephalon Samaris. He's on a relay, which is like an outpost floating near many planets, and I find one quickly, but then I wander the relay aimlessly for a few minutes trying to find him. Chat advises me that I can press Q and then can select Cephalon from a list, which then fast travels to that location on the relay. I have to run around for a minute before I can find the spot where I can interact with him.
I am Cephalon Samaris, the Destroyer, the Immortalizer. This is my sanctuary. It will enlighten you, Tenno, should you assist me in performing synthesis. You will hunt the creatures I require and transform them into beings of the sanctuary. That is synthesis.
That's
Is this
enslavement, but
murder?
okay.
No. All beings of substance die, eventually, but only those forgotten are truly dead. The end of the Orokin wiped out untold knowledge. Through synthesis, we can rebuild and preserve, create memory immortals within this data oasis. Will you become enlightened, Tenno? Will you hunt for me?
Alright. I have to for the
I see
junction.
we are of like mind. The sanctuary will be your project too. Show me your dedication.
Teach me how to perform synthesis.
We are dropped into a tutorial where we use a scanner to follow a faint trail through a level. At the end of the trail, we find our target. I briefly have concerns about Chonker killing the target before I can synthesize it, but it ends up being a non-issue. With the tutorial complete, we can now head back to our ship and check off that item in the junction. Next up, I have to complete a Nightmare mission.
Nightmare missions appear once all nodes on a planet are complete. View available nightmare missions in the alerts tab of the navigation menu. Oh god.
So I began looking for a planet where I've nearly done all the missions once. Earth, I'm only missing 2, but one of them requires a higher mastery rank. I pick Venus and I start knocking out the nodes to work toward a Nightmare mission. I knock out a few basic missions and have a memorable moment with a rescue objective where I say, I wonder if that person I'm rescuing can keep up if I just speedrun toward the exit.
Nice! They got this. I had complete faith in them.
After finishing 3 missions on Venus, working toward the Nightmare objective, Chad starts telling me that I can't do Venus because of Vesper Relay, and I can't do Earth because I'm not Mastery Rank 5. So I guess we're doing Mercury now.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
The heavy guy should be focused. There's a Mukluk approaching.
After the first Mercury mission, I hit level 30 with Heat Sword, so I swap it out with Fragor, the Fly Swatter Hammer, to earn more melee experience. While the basic attacks of this thing don't feel great to use, it seems to excel at downward smash attacks, and I begin aggressively bouncing my way through my enemies. While streaming this, we constantly have people pop into the chat giving advice before realizing what we're working on. This leads to some moments like,
Through Europa?
Stand by while I analyze the intelligence.
Woman, I'm trying to get to Europa. Everything we're doing right now is trying to get to Europa.
Did the operator enjoy
The loot I need is from Europa. To get to Europa, I need to do the Europa Junction. To do the Europa Junction, I need to do a Nightmare mission. To do a Nightmare mission, I have to 100% a planet, and Earth doesn't count, and Venus doesn't count, and freaking Jupiter doesn't count, and so now I'm working on this one. Can I ask why you're still playing Mag? Because I am trying to unlock an additional Warframe, and I have spent the last 4 hours working on that project. And even once I finish that project, which I'm not, it's going to take 72 hours to make the frame. So you're gonna be looking at Mag butt for the next 4 days minimum. Enjoy!
And yes, I know a couple of frames had 24-hour crafting timers, but I wasn't interested in those enough to farm for them at this time. I learned a new mechanic.
Wait, what do I have 0 energy? Okay, something back there drained my energy. Was that it? It's those things, okay.
I get spoiled again.
Slack one says, Warframes are not characters, they are just utilities. The character's the opposite. Oh my god, Slack!
These radio towers carry top secret interplanetary communications.
Bro,
We're going to capture
the Warframe
towers
community has been
and
awful to me today with spoilers.
I want to stress I'm not upset with this viewer. It's more about the sheer volume of spoilers I'm being hit with. While doing these streams, I get a surge of new viewers that are just fans of the Warframe franchise and they want to help, but a few of them do not hold back. I already know the reveal at the end of Second Dream. I already know where the citizens' heads are on Fortuna, and I don't want to know these things because the game hasn't revealed them yet. I know some would recommend streaming in emote-only mode, which is an option available to me, but part of what I love as a streamer is the ability to chat with people and do back and forth. If I ever felt forced to go emote-only mode, I would probably just take a break and play another game for a bit and then come back later. Okay, back to bonking. I do my first Interception mission where I have to hold multiple capture points. Honestly, reminds me a lot of Guild Wars 2 Conquest game mode or World of Warcraft's Arathi Basin. However, this is just me versus hordes of NPCs. I quickly realized that for the first time, I feel that the mission would be significantly easier with other players. I do manage to get it done though.
Lotus, it would have been a lot easier if we just started with that.
Are you willing to stay and decode more messages?
Oh, hell no. Get me out of here.
Make sure the enemy
This is annoying. No, I'm good. I'm good. Oh, that is definitely a mission type that would be easier with multiple people.
The next mission has Captain Vor. Oh, we know him. He's the guy who put the detonating device in me. I briefly get excited that I found the continuation of the Captain Vor storyline, but it turns out to simply be a mission that seems to replay the boss fight I already had with him previously. We take him down again and check this mission off on our map and get a mail from Lotus for $25,000. And finally, we have a nightmare mission on our map. More advice from Yvette.
Nightmares like events for Guild Wars 2, it's not necessary to complete the planet. The whole reason I completed the planet was to do a nightmare so that I can get the other thing done.
As I'm speeding to the first objective, I hear about something new.
And they didn't pay their light bill.
nearby. It will only attack when it senses high concentrations of infested blood. Slow the fight if you want it to go away.
That's an interesting mechanic. Stop killing things if you don't want the big thing. You don't want nothing, don't stop nothing.
Now I was just moving to the first fight area so I wasn't spilling much blood.
The Juggernaut has moved on. It's safe to proceed.
So I didn't actually ever lay eyes on the thing. This mission, the mobs hit pretty hard, and for the first time ever, I actually go downstate more than one time on a mission. I try to utilize more leaps into ground slams to be targeted less often by enemies. Aside from that, the mission was things we've seen before. I finish it up and I head to Extraction. With that, I've finally done a nightmare mission and can complete the junction.
That gives us access to Europa, and the reason I needed access to Europa is because Europa is one of the few places where control modules can drop. And then once I have to do stuff until a control module drops, and then I can start crafting Valkyr systems, which will take 12 hours. And then after that's done, I can start crafting Valkyr, which will take 3 days. So if it was a 5 more minutes thing, I would do that now, because it basically is adding another day to this. But I have no idea how long all those steps are going to take. That might be hours. So that's what we have been working on all night. So the next time someone's like, Muck, why are you still playing Mag? I'm gonna be like, look, I put 5 hours into trying to get another frame, and we're still working on that. The thing that really frustrates me is I was like, okay, I need to do Nightmare. What's the Nightmare? And Chad helped, and Chad's like, you got to do everything on a planet to get a nightmare. And I'm like, okay, fine. And I go to Earth, and I start knocking out missions, and then I get to Oro, have to be mastering 5. So I'm like, okay, so I get blocked on Earth. And then I start doing Venus. And then we find this. And they're like, oh yeah, you can't do Venus because Chains of Harrow. Okay. So I go to Jupiter, and I'm like, all right, I've done like half of Jupiter. And I start to do Jupiter, and then someone's like, oh, you're not going to be able to finish it on Jupiter either because of, and I forget the reason. So then I go to a 4th mucking planet, which was Mercury. And then it took a while, but we knocked out Mercury. Oh, her head, I can make her. She's like, yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, so it was like, it went from finish a planet to not that one, but not that one, but not that one either. So that was like a massive amount of time that I mean, it wasn't wasted, you know, I got materials, I checked some things off on the map, but that was a lot of our night. Oh, also at one point, I didn't do anything on Deimos tonight, but I was like, okay, I've done 3/4 of Deimos. Why don't I just finish Deimos? And then chat was like, don't do Deimos. So apparently there's some kind of nightmare over here, and I just haven't seen it yet. So there was deceptively not that many things to choose from that was available to me for the nightmare thing. I wouldn't say wasted time. Yeah, I did not wasted time. I still got, it checked off other things, but yeah. But we did 0 progress on like quests or anything tonight because it was all just trying to go down the rabbit hole that was the Valkyr thing.
And thus ended this stream of Warframe. We had a few rough patches, mainly that boss fight and dealing with spoilers, but we're locking in on getting Valkyr and getting ever closer. This video was a lot of work, so if you enjoyed it, please consider hitting that like button to help us out with the YouTube algorithm and subscribe for more. If this video gets at least 50 likes, I'll make another one. If you want to see more of my unedited journey through Warframe, a link to that will be down below. Special thanks to our patrons for their continued support, which makes these videos possible. Stay safe out there, Tennos.